What's up, guys? It's Casey Zolman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, coming at you with a Hocus Pocus anniversary video. Today, Hocus Pocus turns the big 31, and I wanted to take today to discuss why this property has gained so much love and traction over the years. This is essentially a love letter to Hocus Pocus.
Wrong picture.
In 1993, the world got their first look at the Sanderson sisters in the movie Hocus Pocus. Of course, that look was in the middle of the freaking summer because Disney slated Nightmare Before Christmas that same year and gave it the prime premiere spot. I'm not bitter. Going up against movies like Free Willy and Jurassic Park, Hocus Pocus didn't stand a chance and bombed at the box office. But years later, the Sanderson sisters started becoming a household name after Disney Channel and ABC Family started showing it as a part of their Halloween lineup every year, and sometimes in April. That happened once. People were falling head over heels for Sarah, Mary, and Winifred Sanderson. But what made Hocus Pocus last and become a classic movie for families that has spawned a sequel and a potential threequel? A few elements for sure. The first and most important thing is the chemistry between all of the actors and actresses in the film. You believe that Omri and Thora are siblings. They felt like a real brother and a real sister who had their problems, but also would do just about anything to keep each other safe. Max basically was ready to commit murder for his sister, and that's how a lot of close siblings feel about each other. I know I feel that way about my brother. If somebody was trying to hurt my brother, you better bet don't screw with his sister. Vanessa made Allison feel like the girl at school who wasn't stuck up, but liked by virtually everybody. She knew she came from a little wealth and notoriety in Salem, but she didn't act like a rich, preppy snob. She knew a lot. She was kind of interested in Max, but she didn't want to let on too much, which was relatable, and Vanessa really brought that out in her. Most people act like that around someone they like. They don't just outright scream in their face, "I like you!" So I liked that she was a little subtle with her approach. The trio of heroes, they felt real. They felt real. The actors who brought them to life made them feel like somebody you could actually meet on the street and be like, "Oh, hey, yeah, you're a real person." And then, of course, there's the Sanderson sisters, played to glorious perfection by Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy. They threw themselves full force into their roles, both physically and mentally. Most movies would constantly have flying stunts done by stunt doubles. Oh, not these ladies. They had stunt doubles, yes. But a lot of the flying was done by the three ladies, and 2 out of the 3 of them loved it. Bette carried around a dictionary of Old English curse words to use for Winifred. Sarah Jessica built her character's voice from the ground up, trying things that maybe didn't work until she found the right one. Kathy put her own personal love of Bette into her performance, as well as created Mary's canine movements and tics that we forever associate with the character. The physical comedy these 3 actresses pull off is amazing, it's perfectly timed, and absolutely unforgettable. You don't see women doing this sort of thing very often, if at all. The closest we have is the Golden Girls, and even then, the slapstick is pretty light. The entire cast gave it their all, bringing us into that story. Oh yeah, and of course, a nod to Jason Marsden for stepping in to give us a Thackeray Binks voice that we forever will love him for, and to Doug Jones for sitting in the makeup chair for hours on hours and putting live moths in his mouth twice. Twice he did that. The hard work shows in the characters and in the story from the second we take off. This movie, I'll say it, had the balls to do what it did. It was a family movie for sure, but when it came out, PG actually meant something. Not even 10 minutes in, we've got a death, specifically a child death, and a boy turned into a different species. And you know what? You didn't really care because you love those 3 wicked witches. The likability of both heroes and villains is rare. And there is not a single character in Hocus Pocus that I hate. In most stories, there's at least like 1 or 2 characters that you don't like or give a crap about or kind of wish they weren't there. Not in Hocus Pocus. You care about every single character and what their motivation is. Yes, even Max and Danny's parents. I hope they were having a great time at that Halloween party. We have a story that, if you took the comedy away, would be a terrifying horror film. A kids' movie could have easily been turned into a horror movie. Let that sink in. And I'm not talking about the crappy parodies like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This would have been a terrifying movie if it had been done as a horror movie. And we watch it every year! The story was really fun and engaging because you wanted to see if the kids could escape the witches. Or, if you were like me, if the witches were smart enough and powerful enough to win instead. This is also one of the only movies, and I just realized this as I was writing this script. This is one of the only movies that doesn't involve some stupid third act breakup where the heroes fall apart and go their separate ways right before the villains come back to end everything. If anything, the third act of Hocus Pocus brings the heroes closer together, which is again rare. The movie broke some standard formulas, especially when you realize, especially if you've ever gotten a hold of the first draft of the script, which I do have one and we'll go over it eventually. The heroes are not the protagonists. The villains are. This is one of the first instances in a family movie. Let me stop all you guys going, but what about in a family movie where the main characters were the villains of the story and not the heroes? I did a whole video on it right here. Click on it, watch it, memorize it. These were the first Disney villains to be this iconic. Disney villains like Scar, Jafar, Ursula, and Cruella are iconic, yes. But they are not nearly as iconic as the Sanderson sisters. Yes, I went there, I bought property, fight me! The merchandise from their movies features them, but their heroes are a little more prevalent in the marketing. The Sanderson sisters, however, they are on every piece of merchandise in existence with the exception of ones that are specifically tailored to Billy and Binks. Who got action figures? The Sanderson sisters and Billy. Who got the most shirts? The Sanderson sisters. Posters, kitchenware, blankets, the list goes on. Having villains this iconic to where they are the movie, to where people just love them so much, it's only seen in movies like Star Wars and Harry Potter. More so horror franchises, because the first two things I listed off have to compete with their heroes. It was a game changer. Hocus Pocus was, and still is, so unique in its storytelling and characters that it sticks with you one way or another. Pun absolutely intended! The movie itself is just so comforting for people, especially when they pop it on around Halloween. It's like visiting old friends every year during the spooky season. You just pop it in, DVD player on your streaming device or even your VCR, and you laugh like you always do. For me, personally, it's been one of the most important elements of my life. And I'm not just saying that to say it. This movie has kept me going through the highs in my life and my lowest lows. I've talked about it before, but I'm going to speak on it again. This movie kept me alive when it felt like nothing else could, and it wasn't for lack of trying for the people who loved me. I just didn't want to keep going. I'd never been so low to the point of wanting to give up and end it. I've never been that low. But Hocus Pocus peeked up out of the corner was like, hey, remember how good you felt whenever you were a kid and you would watch this movie and we'd make you laugh? It picked me back up in my darkest hours. It pulled me to my feet, said, keep fighting, it'll get better. And things did get better. This movie, and especially its sequel, has afforded me many opportunities in life that I never saw myself having. I mean, heck, I got to be part of the legacy video when it came out for Hocus Pocus 2. It pushed me to get out of my comfort zone and start doing YouTube for you guys so I could tell my story and express my love for this franchise. I traveled to Salem, Massachusetts. I chose to take a 17-hour car trip with one of my best friends just so I could see where it was filmed because I love it so much, and I never would have had the guts to do that before. But it made me want to get out and go see new places, and I did. I've met so many of the movie's cast members because I want to thank them for being part of the film that essentially saved my life. And I know I am not the only one out there who feels that way. Never has a movie been made because of fan outcry like Hocus Pocus 2 was. Disney made it so we would shut the heck up. We wanted the second one because we love those characters so dang much and demanded to see more of them. For me, that was the light at the end of the tunnel. I got to meet the Sanderson sisters at the end of the tunnel, and they looked at me, gave me a little punch in the shoulder, and said, see, it got better. Hocus Pocus has tremendous staying power, and it's going to outlive every single one of us. I am certain of that. Hocus Pocus is going to be as timeless as Gone with the Wind and Citizen Kane, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, stuff like that, I assure you. Because it's just so special. It broke barriers. It did things. It started out as a box office flop. And now it's one of the most successful things I've ever seen. And I think that's a real testament to just about anybody else. If you think you are flopping in your own personal box office, just remember, give it a couple years, and you're going to be doing a lot better. You're going to get as much notoriety as you need. Life's going to get better, just like things got better with Hocus Pocus. So here's to another 31 years, to my favorite film of all time, and to its sequel, and a very nervous here's to a potential threequel. So there you go, guys. That is my tribute video today to Hocus Pocus on its anniversary when it turns 31. What did you guys think? Leave your thoughts on why you like it so much down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, please remember to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't. It's free. It helps me. What helps me helps you guys give more great content like this. Well, not specifically like this. That won't happen again until probably next year around this time. But still, you know what I mean. Just do it. Just subscribe. I'm fun. And speaking of fun, we had a lot of fun last week. This week we're going to be back on Twitch on Thursday night at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, continuing our Hogwarts Legacy playthrough, 4th place Hogwarts Legacy. It has been a blast. Last week was hysterical. I'm going to get some shorts out for you guys fairly soon, as long as everything works out. Little change in programming. I am going on a day trip to Nashville on Saturday, so I will not be Black Flame gaming that night, but that doesn't mean we're not having our next part of Winifred Sanderson Plays Pokemon Heart Gold Nuzlocke here on the channel on Friday night is when we're having it this week at our usual time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Tune in for that because so far so good. knock on wood, she's doing all right. So we'll see what happens. We got a new team member last week. It was pretty great. I'm looking forward to continuing both games. I'm looking forward to spending more time with you guys. If you're a regular on this channel, please remember to drop a like and share your thoughts on why you love Hocus Pocus down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Casey Zogelman, aka the Fourth Sanderson Sister, and I'll see you witches and wizards later.